Three friends, one amazing series of YA novels, an insatiable thirst to relive the glory that is K.A. Applegate's literary masterpiece. This is Fanimail, the Dork-Bajir Chronicles.
Hello, and welcome to the Dork-Bajir Chronicles, a podcast where we read through the Animorphs series one book at a time, and then talk about it every week. Today we'll be talking about Animorphs number 30, The Reunion, a good Marco book. My name is Mikhail, the host.
I'm Tessa, the expert.
And I'm Skilly-Doo-Bop-Bop, Wabba-da-da-bop-boop-bop, Baba-da-bop, Baba-da-bop-bop, Bop-Bop-Bobble.
This is an interesting episode where neither of my co-hosts can speak properly.
Listen, just because you don't get my edgy intros, like, you don't have to put me on blast. That's how the kids are saying talk.
Tolk? I thought you were making a Tolkien.
Edgy, like the new Spider-Man movie.
I don't get it.
Anyways, let's jump into some...
Fanimail! Ooh, yeah! Fanimail! Ooh, yeah!
First piece of Fanimail is from @RxDJenny on Twitter, who made a very good Marco meme. I'm not going to read it out because reading a meme is like cancer.
It's
audio.
awful. But they're both, it's a very good, just claps. I love it.
It is good in the sense that it's a pro Marco meme, but just to prove that I'm not biased when I pick these out, our second piece of Fanimail is from @Elgene Rosetta, also on Twitter, with an anti-Marco meme. I don't believe these two people coordinated their efforts, but they are very much ice and fire. I'll let you decide which one is ice and fire.
I'm just like, I don't know if I agree with either of those opinions because I don't think Marco, I have my own special feelings for Marco the Animorph. But I'm just so happy that people are making Animorphs memes because there need to be more Animorphs memes in the world.
100%. Listen, what else am I going to retweet? For real. Also, for anybody who listens and wants to either blast the internet with their own opinion on the Fanimail subject, I've started putting the links to the Fanimail items in the show descriptions. So check your podcatcher for the descriptions, and it'll be in the description of this episode. Yeah, feel free to... Well, maybe I shouldn't say feel free to harass these people, but...
Yeah, that's the wrong way to put it.
Yeah.
Bully
feel free to engage in constructive discussion around the subject.
Constructive bullying. Yes.
Okay.
Constructive bullying.
Okay. So, another good... This is actually a pretty good Marco book. I like this book a lot. It starts off with Marco doing the intro chapter, but also... I hesitate to call it a goof, because it is pretty related to the episode, to the book.
And it's also not funny.
It's not funny at all, yeah. He has a nightmare about his mom drowning, and basically it's sort of also reminding us that his mom died without explicitly just being like, hey, remember how my mom died? And everyone's like, yeah, we know. Fuck. Anyways, he, for reasons that even he doesn't really totally know, he skips school and goes downtown the next morning. He bumps into his mom, which we haven't seen since book number 15, The Escape, when we thought that maybe she died underwater, but then also the Lyran was like swimming towards her. So anyways,
yeah,
he bumped...
It's been a couple books.
It has been like 15 books. A lot has changed. Also, but so this is kind of the goof, is that Marco is like downtown, skipping school, gets completely knocked over by this huge metal briefcase, sees this bitch with a big metal briefcase, and is like, I'm gonna trip you so hard. And then
this
finds
is like
out...
the most intense revenge prank I've ever seen.
It's so good. It's like, hell yeah, Marco, trip her.
World star!
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna hang around this corner and just like fucking destroy this woman when she comes out.
I think one of a literal quote is she's gonna eat pavement or something like that. It's hardcore.
She's carrying a big suitcase, which is also what knocks into him. He follows her, blah blah blah. There's all this like revenge prank stuff, but he also realizes her during the revenge prank part that it's his mom. So He follows her into a big office building, but he can't get past security, so this is pretty morally gray even by their standards. He morphs a dude, or rather he acquires the DNA of a dude called Mr. Grant. Is that Michael Grant? I don't know.
Grant.
Alan Grant.
I didn't even think it was her husband.
General Grant from the Civil War.
Ulysses Grant.
He steals this guy's DNA, but not to morph him, or at least that's the plan, is not to morph him. She just wants to put him in like the acquiring trance, and then pretends to be this guy's kid, who then they both go through security. Marco then proceeds to enter a full elevator and morph a fly.
Yep.
At the back, though.
At the back, though.
Back, though.
They've described many times about how you can like hear bones popping and melting and stuff like that when you're morphing. So
yeah, but from the inside.
Only from the inside. Sure, you're right. No one would hear his clothes hitting the ground or anything like that.
Definitely not. Everybody's just involved in their own heads in a corporate environment.
Yeah, as business people, they are all dreamers. Anyways, I guess we're supposed to believe that no one sees him. So in fiction, no one sees him.
I mean, like, we've seen enough improv everywhere videos to know that sometimes early in the morning on your way to work, people just don't notice what's happening in the elevator.
Oh my God. If one of those things happened to me, I would just be like, get out of my way right now.
So mad. When I was younger, like in high school, I was like, this is the best, anarchy. And now I'm just like, everyone, fuck off. Life is hard. Do not make it any harder for me.
Oh God, yeah.
Do not start a pillow fight with me while I'm walking down the street minding my own business, please.
Anyways, fuck people, but also... Marco does find out where his mom's office is, doesn't go in, but finds out where the office is. And then the only way he can get out of the building after a little bit of snafu, where he gets kind of caught halfway, he morphs the dude, Mr. Grant.
Yeah.
And then uses that morph to escape.
Naked.
No, he's got clothes. Remember?
Yeah, but he's naked for a little while. It's funny.
He's naked under his clothes. He's naked.
Because first, he becomes Marco out of the cockroach morph because the cockroach is blown about in the wind. So he becomes Marco, crashes like into a wastebasket in an office, and then this random lady walks in, hears a noise, and says, "Mr. Grant?" And Marco was like, "Haha, I have plot armor. I'm gonna morph Mr. Grant." He sends her away to get Starbucks, and then he's like, let me run out of the building. Oh no, the real Mr. Grant, who just walks into him and then faints. So Marco steals his clothes, and that's how he leaves the office building.
So then afterwards, they all meet up at the barn and basically go over the plan, which is not really a plan in so much as it's just like we need to gather information. So a bunch of them opt out because of random reasons. So Jake and Rachel have like a quote-unquote family thing, which I thought was going to be important, but totally isn't. And then Cassie has to study for a fucking math test, which, I mean, I feel like at this point, who cares? Like, if you're going to be truant, just be truant.
But Cassie's not. She tries so hard not to be. Because as we know from book 14, her parents are kind of cool.
I think an important part of understanding the Animorphs is that they do still ostensibly want to lead a relatively normal life. And part of that is not getting kicked out of school.
Yeah, it's just like not exciting from a narrative point of view. Although it does give us a pretty good time with the three boys.
The dream team. I love when these three work together. It is so good. My dudes.
There is a small point where Jake gets mad at Marco because he knows he like left some details out, aka acquiring human DNA, which is obviously not okay. Anyways, the recon mission, which was supposed to just basically be like, hey, what's going on? Let's do bird of prey morphs and figure it out. They end up morphing cockroaches because Marco has a sort of like plan that he's kind of powering through where like it's just kind of the theme of the whole book where he's doing stuff that no one said he could do. That's like a huge part of this book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is also where, like, Marco kind of first comes to terms with his, like, I don't know, ruthlessness, and how he can be, like, very cold and calculating and think of the best option.
He's very incredibly irritatingly clear about his metaphor for ruthlessness, which we'll get to in a second. So they morph cockroaches. They do a pretty awesome scene where they skitter down the handrail of the stairwell, but like without going slowly. Like they basically just go as fast as humanly possible. Have you ever like run down a hill?
Yeah.
And been like, I could die. Like, I don't know. I don't think I can stop in time, so...
Well, what's crazy is that these guys always forget that cockroaches have wings and can fly.
I don't know if they can, like, full-on fly, but they can definitely, like, hover to the ground if they fell or
they
something
can definitely, like, fall with style.
Yeah. We're talking Woody-level, Buzz Lightyear-level stuff here. Anyways, also, why didn't they just demorph into humans? Maybe security cameras the risk, I guess, I don't know. Anyways, they go to Visser 1's office, or whatever office she was in, and they find out that in the corner, there's like this little mini Kandrona, and pool, I guess, with the mini Kandrona, which was probably that suitcase, or related to the suitcase she was carrying. It had, I think they actually explains what it is, doesn't he? Portable Kandrona energy or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Beams it right up the butt.
It's butt Kandrona.
It's just little pellets.
They make a point of saying it's temporary, like it's not a permanent solution to this, which will come up in a second here. Anyways, the boys interfere because so Marco's mom is in like a headlock in this machine while the Yerk is absorbing Kandrona. And
you have to assume her hands are also tied up. Otherwise, she can just pull the Yerk out as it gets into her ear.
No, you know what? Axe said that the Yerk has some kind of technology to maintain control over the host while it's in the headlock.
What?
Yeah.
I missed that part. I thought it was just to maintain control over the headlock.
I might be wrong. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's also a headlock that like
Marco's
no
mom
human.
calls the Yerk a fucking asshole as it falls out of her head.
It
That's
seems
a direct
bit
quote.
redundant to have the headlock and the to maintain control.
No, I thought the headlock was the thing that allowed the Yerk to maintain control.
Oh.
I mean, it doesn't matter. She's in a headlock regardless.
She's
I don't
stuck.
know that she would be smart enough to open it on her own. Maybe that's the idea. Anyways, I mean, they could have just had her like gagged and bound, I guess. Would have been the equivalent. But then Visser 3's Dork-Bajir show up.
Well, first, the guys are just there in the room demorphed for the longest time, whispering to each other. And this is not a big office. And you have to assume that the human whisper carried. Like, if you're in a dark office that's quiet, super quiet, all by yourself, you hear no noise, and then you hear what sounds like someone whispering behind you, aren't you going to be curious?
I thought they were still in cockroach morph.
Nope, they're in human morph because he starts to walk towards his mom, his free mom, and Axe has the tail blade against his throat.
Oh, yeah, you're totally right. So, okay. She must have been unconscious or something. There was some reason why she couldn't understand what was going on.
She wasn't unconscious. I just read it yesterday, and it just says that she's got her head in the pool. I think it's just the Yerk can control the lock on the headlock. And I think
I'm scared that you read too fast and you might have missed it.
It's true. I do read incredibly fast.
Anyways, regardless, these are all like tiny details. It doesn't matter that much.
They really don't matter.
The boys do have to feel like they have to interfere. So they fight off the Dork-Bajir in their battle morphs. Although they make it clear that Axe is the one they're really scared of. So I guess that's important somehow. Visser 1 then obviously re-enters the host body and tells the boys what's been happening since Animorphs number 15. So she was demoted. That's a big one. She's now a sub-Visser.
Yep.
Her plan is to take out the free Dork-Bajir colony that we established in number 13. That has since grown. But they know it exists, they just don't know where it is. But her plan is to take it out and get her status back and shame Visser 3 for letting all this happen under his nose.
Tiny dick. What?
It's really like corporate rivalry. It's exactly
it's
that.
so good.
Yeah.
Just like office
Military,
politics.
corporate, political rivalry, yeah.
I feel like our military, or like maybe the American military, wouldn't really allow something quite so petty to happen to risk lives.
I don't know. I feel like more of a corporate analogy is more accurate. And as I talk about, plug in a podcast of that I was on, Androids and Assets, where like the Yerk Empire is kind of like a corporation. I feel like this is a lot more with office politics than anything actual militarily. You know? It's just that the thing that they're selling is your unfreedom. Your
unfreedom, classic word. Classic real word.
It's a good word.
The three of these guys, mostly Marco leading the charge, even though Tobias was left in charge, they agree that they will let her know the location of the free Dork-Bajir. In exchange, she has to help them kill Visser 3, right?
And then they do. And all the Dork-Bajir die, and they beg Tobias for mercy. And the series actually ends.
All the books after this are it's like the Joey spinoff of Friends, and they only focus on Cassie's parents.
Oh God, why are you so obsessed with Cassie's parents?
I love Cassie's parents.
They never talk to each other.
Nerds. They're so good.
Two animal nerd swingers. Am I right?
Yeah, they're totally swingers.
Okay, that's a weird canon that does not.
It's Dork-Bajir canon, baby.
Why do you think that Rachel's mom never asks where she's going? Because she's busy swinging.
Oh my God.
Getting absolutely spit roasted.
Okay, there's a big section here where, Marco clearly has a plan, and he's obsessed with saying the phrase, I can see the bright, clear line between point A and point B, no matter how harsh it is.
Yeah.
And it's and he says that 100 times.
That bright, clear line, y'all. It's like Axe's Your Minutes thing. It's a lot.
Yeah. But basically, the pieces that we're allowed to know about the plan involve a mountain, ecology morph, which they decide on right away, because they meet up at the barn. Is it the next day or it's the same day?
No, it's the same night, which I thought was weird, that he was like, okay, I have this plan. We have to get something that can go in the mountains. So good. I need to acquire something tonight. And they go to Cassie's house and wake her up. And Tobias pecks on her window so hard he breaks the glass. And then they go acquire mountain goats.
Which is fucked. How hard would you have to peck to break that glass? So
I could
hard.
probably break some glass with my nose.
I would give you $100 if you could break glass with just your nose, not your skull following your nose, but just your nose.
What? Kate, it's a bird beak, not a nose.
Braden just said he could break glass with his nose.
Yes, and I stick by that.
Okay.
Do it, coward. Do it live.
They're like, God damn it, Cassie, I need a fucking mountain morph. And she's like, bitch, go to the zoo. They have a mountain exhibit. Obviously. So anyways, they go, and all three of them, I believe, get a mountain goat morph, and then Marco gets headbutted off the fake cliff.
Which is great. Then there's a chapter where he's up all night just thinking about, conversations he's going to have with people who don't agree with the bright, clear line.
Yeah, he's just we, as the audience, not getting to hear the plan, but hearing about how the plan is so badass. At a certain point, that stops. It's diminishing returns. I think it's a good narrative device, but not if you say it 30 times. Anyways.
Suck my dingus, Jake. I got a line.
I don't think he means the plan is good when he says the bright, clear line. I think it just means that this is their best option. And he's got to focus on this can kill Visser 1 and Visser 3. Let's not think about how my mom is going to die. Let's just think that it's going to kill our two big bad guys.
So it's a good plan. Like you just said, word for word, it's a good plan. Some would say it's good. They have no other plans that are better than this one. Some would even say that this is the best plan they have, which is what I said.
So they wake Cassie up in the middle of the night and then have time to have a meeting in the barn where they off camera decide that Jake is going to also morph a mountain lion, so he needs to get a mountain lion morph. And it's not mountain lion, mountain goat, sorry. But it's Kate, why did you break into the zoo late at night if you could have just acquired it the next morning like everybody else did?
They needed another chapter. They couldn't fill it again with.
They couldn't fill it. They didn't have to. They couldn't have Marco staying awake all night arguing with himself twice.
Is it bright or is it shining bright? Truly, the greatest plan that ever existed.
Or is it a dull, clear line? It's a dull, opaque line versus the bright, clear line.
The brightest, clearest, linest, straightest thing that ever existed.
Bright, clear line. Cetaphil for your plans.
The linest, cleanest, bright I've ever seen.
Yeah. They head off to the mountains.
That was good.
That wasn't bad. It's like I was already sick of it after reading the book. Just hearing those words in that combination is like, God damn it. Anyways, they go to the barn the next day. And is it the next day? Yeah, it's the next day. They agree on Marco's plan without letting us, the audience, know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So using thought speak from like hidden, so they're hidden, but they're talking to Visser 1. They basically get her to reveal herself to Chapman outside of a donut store, I think.
Dunkin' Donuts, I think is what it's called.
America wakes with Dunkin'.
It'd be funny if it was like DUNCAN donuts.
Anyways. What's really fun is that Chapman jogs every day past the Dunkin' Donuts, proving that he, like America, runs on Dunkin's.
Wow, Dunkin's 99-cent donut. So the idea is they want Visser 3 to know that Visser 1 is out in the open, so that she'll get a tail to take Visser 3 to wherever they're going. Obviously, the mountains. We, as the audience, have already figured this out ages ago. Walk her through them all. A controller confronts her, or whatever. Rachel stops. They make a big deal about how Marco can't reveal himself to Visser 1. Makes sense, obviously. Visser 1 buys stuff that's like going to prepare her for climbing a mountain.
Like, Kate, so there's like, she buys some rope and some pythons, climbing pythons.
Mm-hmm.
You know they're not pronounced pythons?
How are they pronounced?
Piton. Both of my brothers are into climbing. And, I mentioned a python once in front of my little brother, and he's like, it's not called that. It's called a piton. Which is absurd.
It sounds like your brother might also be wrong, because I think it's a French word, isn't it? Piton?
Piton? It just sounds like a donkey. Piton.
Baton.
I don't know. Okay, insert a robot lady voice pronouncing python.
Sure. Bam. So anyway, she purchases a bunch of stuff that she's going to need for climbing a mountain. Scarf, gloves, rope, and pitons, which is like, okay. Also, you might want to pick up some knowledge about how to climb a mountain.
Right? Also that. Also a book.
Yeah.
Like, you're just gonna know how to use pitons?
I mean, grab one rock, grab the next one. Tie a rope, spike on a crack.
Not how you do drugs, Brayden. How you climb a mountain.
I'm spiking on crack right now. They head off to the mountains in Visser 1's rented Audi, I believe. After Visser 1 gets out of the car and starts walking towards the woods. Meanwhile, she's being instructed by the Animorphs, who are hidden as cockroaches in her car.
Yeah.
Except for Axe,
and
Tobias. Yeah, Axe and Tobias are not there.
But also, Visser 1 is just so Cassie's talking to her right now, and Cassie says something about, like, oh, the damage of, like, controllers is, like, negligible to us. And the Visser 1 is like, really? Because, like, I read the reports after every battle, and there's only Dork-Bajir and Taxons who die. The human controllers never get killed. Very interesting.
Yeah, they're foreshadowing something which comes up later, which is Visser 1 knows that they're humans.
Or she suspects for sure, and then she figures it out.
Spoilers! Anyways, she is instructed to walk towards the woods, and then they have to get out of her car without, like, making it super obvious. So Marco gets out and kind of demorphs and in the car, and then gets out. But before the other two, which would be...
Because Rachel leaves first, and then Marco.
Right, Rachel left already, but Cassie and Jake were still in the car. Visser 3 shows up, and he just, like, does a fucking huge drive-by on the car with this Draken beam, and in my mind, from the description, blasts away all the paneling on the car and just leaves the frame of the car, which is insane, and it does not make sense with how, like, Draken beams have been explained so far.
In my mind, he, like, shot it with a laser beam, and then the car exploded and just got super vertical, and then landed a crushed, like a burning heap.
Oh, because they said only the frame remained, which is like, what? How does that make sense?
I think that's just, like, Marco being a little poetic. I'm pretty sure, I didn't think the siding fell off.
Definitely some fertilizer and gas in that one.
Yeah, probably. Anyways, so Marco's like, grief. Cassie and Jake are now dead. But it's fine. The plan's more important. It's not fine, but he definitely pushes it down. And he's like, I'll just have to do Jake's job now. So we get a scene where I can't remember how Marco gets there. I think he just goes to meet up with...
He's flying and he meets up with Rachel and Tobias.
That's what it is. Rachel and Tobias are morphed Dork-Bajir.
Yeah.
And pretend to be free Dork-Bajir, leading Visser 1 to the colony. Meanwhile, Marco also notices that Visser 3 has spies. There's a really weirdly specific description of a guy with red hair. Who's, like, way faster.
He ends up being a red herring.
Oh, fuck.
Where the fuck was I on this? Right, so they meet up with Tobias and Rachel in the woods. Rachel and Tobias carry Visser 1 up the mountain, even though she was, like, supposed to climb herself.
Well, she climbed part of the way and then she stopped because it got real vertical. And she can't do it because she doesn't know how to use a piton.
She's a lazy fucking bitch, is what it is.
Marco morphs the goat and has a weird, like, has a weird orgasm for the goat's agility. Catches up with them quickly, brags about it.
Oh, yes, such agility.
Dude, stop.
Oh, man. I'm not getting that image out of my head. Visser 3, at the bottom of the hill, morphs, it's like a camouflage, like a chameleon-esque land crab with a UFO head. And it climbs up the mountain, and I guess that's happening while the others are climbing to the very top. But anyways, when Visser 1's at the top, she's like, where's the colony? And Eric, who was previously hired by Axe, makes the valley underneath the mountain, or I guess it's just more mountains, isn't it?
He's like, I feel like he's hiding on the edge of the cliff and he projects this huge hologram out in open space, pretending that there's a valley there that's full of Dork-Bajir.
So later, though, it becomes critical that's the projection is actually over rocks, not over like a open air.
Yeah, he just does it over part of the mountain, like the mountain itself turns it into a valley.
I don't think he projected a whole valley. I think he just projected the community.
Yeah, but that would imply that there is, like, forest and stuff there. Remember, there's, like, trees and stuff they were talking about? We'll get to that in a second, I guess. Anyways, Visser 1 sees a Dork-Bajir colony in the valley below. And then basically calls her ships, which she said she had and apparently did have, calls her ships in to just blast it to fuck.
But at the same time, Visser 3 goes over the cliff, and they start yelling at each other, and it's very good.
Yeah, there's a lot of, like, good.
It's like, I'm having you arrested for incompetence. And it's like, hell yeah, I wish I could do that for some of my coworkers. Am I right, office
Mondays,
humor?
am I right?
Not worry. Another day, another dollar. Working harder.
What a morning.
Am I right, Phil?
Basically, we get a lot of destruction on this hologram, which Eric then holograms the destruction as well. So it looks like the Dork-Bajir are dying, when in reality, the giant ship-sized Draken beams are hitting the mountain range and causing, like, earthquakes and shit. Yeah. So Visser 1 fights Visser 3, not very effectively, obviously, but she tries to shoot him, and he knocks her down, blah, blah, blah. And then a ravine? Is it that there's like a crevasse that opens up? Like, why does Visser 3 leave the fight?
It's not really explained.
Okay, I thought so.
It's just like Marco goes to push his mom over the cliff, and then Jake and Tiger Morph pins him down. And then the rest of the battle fades into the background as Marco goes into shock.
Marco specifies that, like, the ground that things were just wrapping up, and the ground battle was going their way, and the air was going their way, and everything was fine.
Yes. But critically, before Marco knocks his mom off the cliff, he talks to her in such a way that reveals that he is Marco, her son. And she's like, the boy. So presumably the boy being my host's son, right? Which is crazy that she's like, didn't fucking realize something was up in number 15. Like, what are the chances that her fucking son is at this underwater facility? But anyways, he runs the headbutter off the cliff, like you said. Then Jake, who's not dead, twist! Jake's not dead in book number 29. Who could have, or book number 30, who would have thought?
Who the fuck?
He dies in book 31, I'm sorry to say.
It's actually unrelated. He trips and he gets a staph infection.
No, he gets dragged underwater by a dolphin in a lake.
Why is that
horrific. Because what's the dolphin doing in the lake?
Oh no! What if he dies because he was having sex with a horse?
Oh no!
But the horse's penis like ripped apart his inner organs. Twist! It wasn't just a regular horse.
It was
Cassie.
Marco.
Oh, what? That's disgusting. So then Visser 1 calls in a ship, kind of like as she's falling, because Jake does knock her off the cliff. And presumably it's exactly what happened in number 15, like, oh, we couldn't find your body. But she's definitely, like, fine.
That can't be a problem.
Yeah, right. Rachel checks, and she's like, listen, there was guts and shit everywhere, and she wasn't there, so probably not. Your mom's probably fine. Marco sulks and watches TV, and that's the end.
And that's the end. That's it. That's all.
That took fucking forever to get through. Goddamn.
Par for the course on the Dork-Bajir Chronicles.
There is a pretty funny part that I kind of glossed over, but where after the meeting in the office, Visser 1 is like, okay, contact me when you're ready for the plan. And Marco's like, oh, how are we going to contact you? She's like, just email me.
I have email.
Yeah, which I thought was very good, and I spent a while trying to think of like the best Visser 1 email. I got a couple here.
Give us some of your good ones.
The one true Visser at hotmail.com. BMVV1. What does that stand for? I forget now. Best male Visser.
I think it's BMY, like be my V1.
Be my V1 at yahoo.com. V11111111 at gmail.com, or also kissmyvis at outlook.com.
It could also just be like Esplin sucks, SUX.
Yeah.
Esplin sucks, Deeks.
Deeks with one CK. Yeah, that was pretty funny. Just saying. Oh, we missed out the part where Visser 1 is like, yeah, I definitely know you're human now. Like, when she realizes it's the boy, but even also before that.
When she's like, you're someone I know. Because Marco's there in Mountain Goat Morph, and to cue Eric, he says not to get a lot of, like, Prince of Egypt on you, but behold. And then that's Eric's cue to do the hologram. And Visser 1 was like, Andalites don't make human references. Your sense of humor is your downfall, Marco. And that's a quote.
It's like, just shut the fuck up. My boy's sense of humor is the best thing ever.
There was another point too, which I thought was more just funny, just worth mentioning, is that they were talking about the fight, or Marco is like narrating the fight as it's about to happen, or like the plan as it's about to happen. And he says, there's too much on if there's too much on Visser 3's side of the equation, and he'd win without suffering much himself. And now the wild card, we, the Animorphs, were reduced after Jake and Cassie die. I don't think that's what wild card means.
It's not. It's none of the ghostwriters, or like Catherine just doesn't know what a wild card is.
I think that's true. Like,
Hey, Kat, have you ever played a card game?
yeah, right. I think as far as like addressing the main thing in this book, which is Marco dealing with the fact that he's going to have to kill his mom, I like this one better than 15. 15 was like, I don't want to talk about it. This one was like, listen, I'm going to kill this bitch, and there's nothing you can do about it.
And Cassie, at one point, when they're like prepping the plan, is just like, are we not going to talk about how Marco is killing his mom? This is so fucked up. And then there's a pause, and then Jake's like, tell us more about your plan, Marco. And they just don't like talk about it at all. Ugh! It's cold.
He looks at Jake is just like about to agree, but then he looks down and sees Marco's raging plan boner, and he's like, I can't get in the way of that. That thing will punch through my skull like diamond.
Okay. At the beginning of the book, he's like, back in the days when my mom was part of our life, the days that my dad called the salad days. Okay, this book was the first time I heard the phrase the salad days, and like I've been seeing in the last like 2 months maybe, I've been seeing it pop up everywhere. What does it mean? Is it just when you were younger and still ate salad?
I think it means like when they both had like a female figure in their lives to encourage them to eat a salad every once in a while.
No, but like I've heard other people use it like, back in my youth, the salad days. Like I feel like it's a reference to a commercial or something. When people only ate salad when they were young, and then we've just forgotten the commercial and everyone's just making the reference, and I don't get it.
Salad days is a Shakespearean idiomatic expression meaning a youthful time accompanied by the inexperience, enthusiasm, idealism, innocence, or indiscretion that one associates with a young person.
So then why did Shakespeare have young people eat salad? This goes all the way to the top. I think we crack this and the Yerk Empire crumbles.
My salad days... when I was green in judgment, cold in blood. Salad, because you are green and cold.
Salad is like cold vegetables that you eat.
Yeah.
Oh.
Fuck salad, though, am I right?
Oh.
Yeah, salad can suck my weenus.
There's a bit when they're talking to Visser 1 and leading her on this, like, chase to, like, get stuff so that Visser 3 realizes that Visser 1 is out and about and will, follow her. And Marco just decides to land on top of a bus in his bird morph and ride it for 2 blocks. But he says that he doesn't need to, and it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Because you could just morph a bug or something.
Like, you already had Visser 1 bump into Chapman so that Visser 3 knows that Visser 1 is around. Did you just do that so that any controllers watching would realize the Andalites are also involved?
Also, like, that's really suspicious. It's like
super
people
suspicious.
can see a bird on a bus.
People can see a bird on a bus. Thank you. Birds don't go on buses. Okay, but like, so they're there at the top of the mountain, and then Visser 1 uncloaks her ship. Visser 3 is like, I know you have a ship, hurt dirt. And then Visser 1 uncloaks her ship, and Visser 3 is like, oh my god, and like rattles off the name of the ship and just like nerds out a little bit.
Mm-hmm,
and it's like just like Visser 1 has a luxury Yerk
Nova
ship.
class.
Yeah.
Nova class Enterprise system or something.
Yeah, it's a pretty pointless like comment that he makes. I guess it does imply that Visser 1 is still in the good books of the Council of 13, though, if she's able to like keep her ship and command it still.
Or at the very least, she has some kind of like there are people who like she's not arrested yet. Right? Like, there are people who still respect her and are going to work for her. And, like, there's a pilot piloting that Nova-class ship.
What is her name now that Visser 3 isn't Visser 3? I can't remember.
Visser 1?
What does it say? Or Visser 1.
They still call her Visser 1.
That's weird.
It is weird. She's sub-Vis or something now. Also...
Okay, so that's why I missed it, because...
Yeah.
They didn't actually name it, and they also kept at it.
What do you think? Do you think that, like, Visser 3's blade ship... Because when he was, like... a Nova-class Empire ship. Do you think the rest of the fleet is just like, yeah, we just gave Visser 3 like this fucking lemon?
They just gave him like the shittiest little pickup truck of a bug fighter.
Well, he's got a blade ship, but maybe that's just like
it's not actually a blade ship. It's just 3 bug fighters smushed together.
Welded together.
And they painted it black, and they're like, here you go, Visitor 3. It's a blade ship.
Yeah, because he doesn't know any better. He's just like, oh, yeah, okay. This is great. They just tell him, like, it's the best in the fleet. And Visser 1 sends him catalogs for all the newest ships. Ew, we got to talk about...
Visser 3 more minute. Visser 3 more minute. 3.
In which Visser 3 apparently, like, is some kind of weird camouflage crab thing.
Yeah, that's
What kind of
interesting.
planet would that have to be from? I don't understand that at all.
It's got to be some kind of prey animal.
What?
Right?
Why?
Like, why else would it have so much camouflage? I mean, I guess stonefish have a lot of camouflage, and you wouldn't really call them prey animal.
Also, literally, like, every spider is camouflaged.
What? Really?
A wolf spider?
They don't camouflage like a chameleon. Come on.
No, well, not magical camouflage like chameleons have.
No spiders really have camouflage. They're just small, so you can't see them.
So camouflage doesn't necessarily mean that you can change your colors. It just means that you blend in with your background.
Well, yeah, but spiders don't do that. They're all kinds of
they do.
multicolored.
Yes, they do. Holy shit. I want every single person in the world to at Tessa about spider camouflage with tons of pictures, please.
Tons of pictures. Prove me wrong.
Yeah, spiders don't have camouflage. Prove me wrong. With that fucking smug look on your face.
I'm gonna go take a picture of one.
Oh, he's back. What does it look like?
Yeah, it's... I don't know.
He couldn't find one. They were so well camouflaged.
Yeah. Exactly.
Next week, in our bi-weekly episode of The Speaking Tree, we'll be talking about what would be a more ideal plan to get Visser 1 and Visser 3 to fight each other, potentially to the death.
Dun,
And
dun.
how would you use morphing to improve your shopping retail game? We'll also be talking about how you would use a cockroach to morph for purely personal reasons, as well as predictions for Megamorphs number 3, Elfangor's Secret, which I have been told has a lot of time travel in it. Yes. Tessa, where can people find more of our stuff?
You can find more of our stuff on our podcast page at collectivelegacy.com. I mean, collectivelegacy.org. Or on Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, or Facebook.
Remember to subscribe on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts, or else I'll keep on talking like this. Oh.
And if you do want him to talk like that for forever, you can support our show on our Patreon page, patreon.com/Dork-Bajir. It's the $700 a month tier, though. So, it's a lot of deep pockets to get Braden to always talk like that.
I mean, I feel like you'll do it for free if you just ask.
Come on. Ask me. Say it. Say it out loud. Ask me. I dare you! Go on our Patreon and ask! That'll be one of our special bonuses, including access to our Discord server, Animorphs essays, and much more. Oh.
We like to give a shout out to our patrons at the Dork-Bajir level or higher by giving them an Animorphs style title. Mariah Wamby, the
Greg Della Posta, you know it.
Andrew Vila, the Pro Marco meme.
Anyanka, the Yonkta.
Shanna, the wall.
Steam Driven, the Midmorph on the cockroach cover. For the Fanimorphs, my name is Mikhail, the host.
I'm Tessa, the expert.
And I'm Braden, the newbie.
Oh, wow, that was so
That was
angelic.
really cute there at the end.
And this has been Fuckamorphs, the Dork-Bajir Chronicles.
Holy shit, how have we not made that joke
You
yet?
said Dick Bajir before. That's beautiful.
I just had to counterbalance the innocence.
No,
of
we
that
have to.
newbie.
This has to be our last episode ever now because that was such a beautiful ending.
We've hit peak performance.
What do you want to eat right now? Jinx! I'm Mitch. And I'm Sophie. And this is
We Watch Food,
a podcast all about the food we like to watch.
We'll talk all about the best, the craziest, and the tastiest TV, movies, and YouTube channels.
Not to mention trendy food fads and sumptuous food trivia.
Plus, we end every episode with a recipe from one of us.
So join us every Saturday for a new episode and a new insight into what makes us watch so much food.
You can find us at collectivelegacy.org, as well as a bunch of other awesome podcasts.
Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at We Watch Food.
And on Twitter at We Watch Food Pod. So I've been Mitch.
I'm Sophie.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Brought to you by
Collective Legacy,
a podcast network.